So, in this episode, we're looking at science conserving the environment. Hi, boys and girls. At the end of this week's lesson, you will be able to outline the effects of human activities on the environment, explain the need for and importance of conserving living things and the environment to sustain the balance in the ecosystem, complete at least 4 of the activities at the 8 learning centers. In the previous lesson, we learned about the different environments. Unfortunately, the environment is being degraded in some places. To keep these environments safe for future generations, everyone needs to help. Examples of environmental degradation include 1. Pollution, such as dirty air and water. 2. Overuse of natural resources like water, trees, or oil. 3. Destroying habitats, that is, destroying places where animals live. 4. Overfishing, that is, catching too many fish at one point from a given area. 5. Deforestation, cutting down too many trees. Now, here are 5 ways to conserve the environment and living things. 1. Use scrap food or food scraps rather to make composts for plants. So you could have like a little drum or bucket outside. We'll put some soil in it. We add pieces of newspaper. Then we add the food scraps, vegetable leaves, and other things that we have there, and then cover that with dirt. And then we will do what? We will rotate it from time to time and allow that to decompose. That could be then used as fertilizer. Or we could add water to it and make what they call a compost tea and then give that to the plants. Another way, 2, reforestation, which means to plant more trees. Now, guys, get this early. There is reforestation and there's afforestation. So you need to know that. So go ahead, check that out. What is the difference between reforestation and afforestation? Let's go with 3. Remove snails that eat young coral reefs. All right, so we have some sea snails there that we'll have to deal with. 4. Use natural resources carefully so we don't run out. 5. Create fish sanctuaries, that's a safe place, in the sea or ocean for fish to live. Engage. Discuss why it is necessary to sustain balance in the ecosystem. Is it necessary for food security, water, and clean air? Will an unbalanced ecosystem lead to extinctions, shortages of resources, and disease? So the answer to these would be yes. So if we don't have balance, then we won't have food security. Meaning at some point we might have plants and trees that die off that provide us with food. So we will starve to death. If we don't take care of the, say, trees and so on, we have less water, right? And if we're constantly burning things, then our air will not be clean, for example, right? And in terms of balance, if we don't have that balance, then some things, for example, animals that depend on certain plants, they can go extinct, right? Shortages of resources, yes, right? And diseases as a result of all of those other things, I'm sure. Explore. Access the internet and download and view videos on environmental conservation. All right, let's go to explain. Complete figure 1 by writing an example of environmental degradation beside each number. Let's see. So here we have evidence of environmental degradation 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so let's add this then. So for example, 1 could be air pollution. So air pollution. We could have water pollution. We could have pollution of the soil. We could have deforestation. Right. Let me see what else. Deforestation. We could have something like overfishing. All right. Anything else that we could think of? Overgrazing as well. Those could lead to environmental degradation. Let's extend now. Complete figure 2 by writing beside each number one way to conserve the environment. Okay, so let's go with this. We could uh, say you use scraps for composting. Okay, let's see. We heard about fish sanctuaries, right? So fish sanctuaries. Okay, let me see. Okay, cool. We could have reforestation, the opposite of deforestation. We could have reforestation. Okay. We could have something like water harvesting. Okay. So that could help. Okay. So composting, reforestation, creating fish sanctuaries, water conservation by water harvesting. Evaluate, complete at least 4 of the activities at the 8 learning centers. So here we go. Create at the Faye Ellington Center, create a digital story on environmental conservation. Jimmy Cliff Center, write song lyrics that highlight environmental conservation. A picture link from the Edna Manley Center. Download images of environmental degradation and the strategies we could put in place to reduce the effects. Create a carousel of these images. Body link from the Rex Nettleford Center. Download images of underwater drones used to monitor the health of coral reefs. Make a model of an underwater drone. Number link from the Albert Einstein Center. What fraction of the 5 ways to conserve the environment and living things is most likely to have an impact on fish populations? And what percentage? Let's see. So it was fish sanctuaries. So that would be 1 out of 5 as a percentage. Multiply this by 100. 5 into itself one time. 5 into 100, 20. So this would be 20%. Let's go to the social link now. Mary Seacole Center. Use a digital device and take photos of the underwater drone made to tackle environmental degradation. Share these images in your class WhatsApp group. The Dan Macaulay Center now. The 4-8 students of a primary school in rural Jamaica started a garden on a property near the school. However, it did not yield many crops due to the poor quality of the soil. This was a result of improper irrigation and overgrazing. Hmm. Make a compost heap to tackle the problem with the soil. 1. What dead plant materials can be used? Oh, so we could use leaves, for example. What household waste can be used? We could use vegetable scraps. Ensure that water and soil are included. Place the dead plant materials, household waste, water, and soil in a container. Now stir the contents of the container once a week until it becomes nutrient rich compost. All right, guys, so that is our little talk about conserving the environment. It's important. And why is it important? Because if we don't conserve it, we'll lose it. Take care. We'll see you in the next episode.